For more than 50 years, the old house on the hill was feared by everyone in the town. People said strange lights appeared in its windows at night. Some even claimed they heard footsteps moving inside the empty halls. But what no one knew was that the house wasn't hiding a ghost. It was hiding a secret that would change the lives of an entire town. And the truth remained buried until one curious woman decided to open the door. For years, the old house stood alone on a quiet hill outside the town. Its once white paint had faded under the harsh sun and heavy rain. The windows were cracked. Dry weeds had taken over the yard like silent guardians of the forgotten place. Even the wooden gate creaked whenever the wind pushed against it. The townspeople avoided the hill. At night, some claimed they saw faint lights flickering through the broken windows. Others swore they heard footsteps echoing inside the empty house. "No one lives there," the elders always said. At least, that was what everyone believed. One evening, a young woman named Maya arrived in the town. Maya was a writer who traveled from place to place searching for unusual stories. She loved old legends, mysterious buildings, and secrets people were afraid to talk about. To Maya, every quiet town had a hidden story, and she intended to find it. Later that evening, Maya sat inside a small cafe near the town square. While drinking her coffee, she overheard two elderly men speaking in low voices. "That house on the hill should have been torn down years ago," one of them said quietly. The other slowly shook his head. "Some secrets are better left alone." Maya listened carefully, but instead of fear, something else filled her mind: curiosity. The next afternoon, under a cloudy gray sky, Maya walked toward the hill. A narrow dirt path twisted through tall, dry grass. The wind moved through the weeds as if whispering warnings. Step by step, she climbed higher until the old house stood directly in front of her. The place was silent, too silent. Maya approached the front door. The old brass handle was covered in dust. She wiped it slowly, then pushed the door. Creak! The door opened. Cold air drifted out of the house, carrying the faint smell of old wood and forgotten memories. Sunlight slipped through the broken windows, casting long shadows across the floor. Taking a deep breath, Maya stepped inside. Her footsteps echoed through the empty halls as she explored room after room. A dusty chandelier hung from the ceiling. An old staircase stood quietly in the corner. Torn curtains moved slightly with the wind. Then something caught her attention. On the wall hung a large, faded painting of a man standing beside a field. But something looked strange. The painting wasn't hanging straight. Maya stepped closer. "That's odd," she whispered. She lifted the painting, and behind it was a small metal door hidden in the wall. A safe. Her heart began to beat faster. The lock was old and rusty. At first it refused to open, but after searching the room, Maya found an iron tool near the fireplace. She forced the lock carefully. Minutes passed. Dust fell from the wall. Then suddenly, click, the safe opened. Inside was a bundle of old papers tied with a faded red ribbon. Beside them lay a small folded map. Maya sat on the dusty floor and began to read, and as she read, her eyes widened. The papers were written more than 50 years ago by the original owner of the house, a wealthy man who once owned most of the land around the town. But the documents revealed something shocking. The man had planned to divide his land and money among several poor families in the town. He had written detailed instructions, and the map marked exactly which land belonged to each family. But before he could carry out his plan, he died suddenly. The documents were never discovered. The secret remained hidden inside the house for decades. Maya leaned back against the wall in disbelief. "So the stories were wrong," she whispered. "The house wasn't cursed. It was protecting something." The next morning, Maya brought the documents to the town leaders. At first, they were skeptical, but after weeks of investigation and checking old records, the truth became clear. The land and money truly belonged to the families listed in the documents. Many of those families were still living in the town. For the first time in generations, justice was restored. The families finally received the land their ancestors were meant to have. Some started farms, others opened small businesses. Slowly, the town began to grow and prosper, because a secret hidden for 50 years had finally been uncovered. And as for the old house on the hill, people no longer feared it. Children played in the yard again, the broken windows were repaired, the weeds were cleared away. The place that once held whispers of mystery now held a story of hope. Because sometimes the greatest secrets in the world are not meant to stay hidden forever. Sometimes they are simply waiting for someone curious enough to open the door.